What's up, everybody? G here, VP of Content, fitnessinformant.com, here today for a long-awaited review. Today we are looking at Apollon Nutrition's Hooligan. This is their V5, version 5, for people who don't know what that means. So yes, this pre-workout is quite controversial, and we will be the first to admit right off the bat that it is not for everyone, which we will get into more. Spoiler alert, it is due to the high amount of caffeine in there. Either way, we are going to start this off by saying that this is formulated very well, and even though this is not a pre-workout for everybody, some of you guys out there may benefit from this. So I'm not going to waste your time. Let's get into the profile, mixability, taste, effectiveness, value, and let you know if we liked it or not. Let's go. So to start this off, Hooligan is a loaded formula. A lot of ingredients go over here. The first one is very common. It is citrulline at 7 grams. Citrulline converts to arginine, precursor to nitric oxide. This can help with pumps, performance, endurance. It's pretty much a staple in everybody's pre-workout nowadays. You only need 3 to 5 grams to get an effective pump. This has 7 grams in it per scoop. So right off the bat, it is dosed quite well. Moving on, we have beta-alanine, another very common ingredient in pre-workouts at 3.5 grams. Beta-alanine, to put it very, very simply, buffers lactic acid. This can help with endurance. It's almost a staple in pre-workouts these days. You almost expect it. 3.2 grams is the known clinical dose that everybody speaks of. You get 3.5 in here, so nothing wrong there. Next up, we have betaine anhydrous at 2.5 grams. Betaine anhydrous is an ingredient that can help with power output, and it's also very common in pre-workouts at 2.5 grams. It is at the clinical dose. Nice to see there. And next up, we have tyrosine at 2 grams. So tyrosine is one of our favorite ingredients, or at least my favorite ingredient. Ryan always gives me shit for it. Tyrosine is a precursor to dopamine and a lot of other catecholamines in the brain. And really, it's good for focus under stressful situations. We recommend anywhere from 750 milligrams to 1.5 grams. You get 2 grams in here. That's fine. It works great. It's a safe ingredient. We like seeing it in here. Good job, Apollon. Next up, we have agmatine sulfate at 1.5 grams. Agmatine is typically thought of as like a pump ingredient. It is a metabolite of arginine. However, it does have a lot of benefits in the body. Either way, it's going to help with pumps in this one, and at 1.5 grams, it is dosed very well. Next up, we have lion's mane at 1 gram. Lion's mane is a mushroom, and you see this a lot in nootropics, and you are seeing it more in pre-workouts these days. It is great for overall brain health and gets better with time. And at 1 gram, it's actually dosed well in here. Seriously, I could go on for lion's mane for a while. I'm going to move on. Next up, we have probably one of our favorite ingredients for focus. Probably the first thing we would recommend if you're looking for like just a single nootropic ingredient, and that is alpha GPC. This is a form of choline that has a high bioavailability. It crosses the blood-brain barrier very well. This converts to acetylcholine in the brain, which is a neurotransmitter, so it's gonna help you with focus. Simple as that. Moving on, we have the first part of what makes this product very special, you could say. We have caffeine anhydrous at 450 milligrams. Now, this is already quite a high dose of caffeine. And while we're at it, we won't just stop there. You also get caffeine from dicaffeine malate, which is more of a time-release caffeine. That provides 150 milligrams of caffeine, so you are at 600 milligrams just from those two sources. This is like double the average pre-workout these days, so that's when we say this isn't for everybody. And by the way, it doesn't even stop there. The theobromine source in here actually provides 10% caffeine, so you're getting 630 milligrams of caffeine per serving. Depending on your tolerance, this can be taken safely. That's why we say this is not a pre-workout for everybody, definitely not for a beginner. However, if you do have the tolerance, you can take this safely. It's just not something that we would recommend every day, especially that much at once. With that said, we do have to give credit. This is the only stimulant in Hooligan. No DMHA, no ariogerensis, no hordenine, no hegelamine, just straight caffeine, well studied. It is safe depending on who you are. However, you have to know your own tolerance, and it's not something that we would recommend every day, at least not at that dose. So theobromine, caffeine anhydrous, and dicaffeine malate out of the way. Moving on, we have Himalayan pink sea salt. This is a source of trace minerals. Pink Himalayan salt can help with proper hydration, and obviously proper hydration is important for overall performance. You get 250 milligrams of it in here. Moving on, we have rhodiola. This is an ingredient that's actually, in my opinion, very underrated. It is an adaptogen. It can help with energy. It has anti-fatigue properties. We have a whole ingredient section on our site, and you can read more about it there. We don't know the standardization in here. That's one thing we'd like to see. Either way, you're getting 200 milligrams, which is a solid dose. So 200 milligrams works out. Next up, we have Elevate ATP. This is an ancient peat and apple extract. This helps with ATP production in your body. If you don't know what ATP is adenosine triphosphate. This is basically the energy currency of your cell. This is a solid trademarked ingredient, and at 150 milligrams is at the clinical dose. That's one thing you're seeing in this entire product. Clinical doses, solid doses, even stronger doses than what you really need. And finally, we have estrogen at 50 milligrams. This helps with absorption of many of the ingredients in here. So overall, this is a very well formulated pre-workout. Even if the caffeine was cut in half, it'd still be one of the best pre-workouts on our website or on the market for that matter. But yeah, this is meant to be a hard-hitting, hardcore pre-workout, just in a safer manner than, a lot of these pre-workouts with DMHA in them, or any of the other exotic stimulants that are still out there. So for that reason, with the high amount of caffeine, this is a pre-workout that we would recommend you take maybe once a week, twice a week at the most, preferably once every week or every other week. Having a high caffeine tolerance, while me and Ryan both have high caffeine tolerances, we don't like to push it all the time, but sometimes it is nice to get a really hard-hitting pre-workout, especially without the use of exotic stimulants. So if you have the tolerance for that much caffeine and you are willing to take that much caffeine at once, you should be fine. And that's how we recommend you use this, just looking at the profile. So with that said, let's get into the effectiveness. So now we get to the effectiveness section of this review, and what can we say? This really, really delivered. We'll start off with the energy, because that's what everybody wants to know. It's a very strong yet clean energy is the best way to describe it. And with the dicaffeine malate, you actually don't really crash from it either, which is a nice, nice thing to point out here. And really, that along with the tyrosine and alpha GPC really puts you in tune with your body. So not only are you feeling great, you're so zoned in that you actually feel every rep as you work out. So it definitely delivers there. 7 grams of citrulline and 1.5 grams of agmatine. Agmatine is not as popular as it used to be, however, it still delivers. Citrulline is nice too, so those two together provide a great pump, and the caffeine does not get in the way. So yeah, it delivers on those two, and of course performance. High amount of caffeine with your betaine, beta-alanine, citrulline. You simply have better workouts, you feel great. And overall, yeah, not much to say. This is one of the higher rated pre-workouts in terms of effectiveness on our site right now, for great reason. When every ingredient is dosed so well, and your caffeine is higher than the rest, it's gonna deliver pretty much on all fronts. So the effectiveness, as you see on the website, is 9.3. While it's not the energy that you need every day, like we said, maybe once a week, twice a week at the most, it's still something that you should experience if you have that tolerance for it. So yeah, of course, it works. That's no surprise given the profile. How does it taste? So when it comes to the taste, this is where Apollon takes its hit. The 8.7 on our website for overall, take that with a grain of salt. It's only got brought down due to the flavor of this. With all the actives in here, they are hard to flavor, and we had both the strawberry margarita and the turnpike tea. While strawberry margarita is actually pretty accurate, I could picture myself adding alcohol to this and enjoying it if there weren't any actives in there. It still has a very chemical taste to it. It's not awful, it's actually very drinkable, and we believe that's not too big of an issue, because the people who are taking this are probably not the type of people to actually complain about the taste of their pre-workout. They're just gonna drink it, get the crazy energy and citrulline. You're gonna forget all about the flavor. Either way, it's not awful. If you want Ryan's quick hit on his thoughts on the turnpike tea, check out the other video, which will be in the link down below and in the written portion of this review. That's the only thing bringing it down. It's in the 7 out of 10 range. Drinkable, just has a bit of a chemical taste to it, but not the worst thing we've ever had. All right, so now we get to the mixability, and you're gonna see me put a scoop of it in my shaker cup and start mixing it around. And honestly, it just mixes fine. There's not really too much to complain about. There's sediment. We mix it with about 8 to 10 ounces of water here. Usually I use more. For this video, we're following the label guidelines, of course. But yeah, there is a bit of dye in there. We're not gonna knock it too much for that, because we've given other brands the pass. All the sediment floating around, you don't notice it at all. There's no clumping. So yeah, this gets the pass from us on mixability. Okay, so now we get to the value of this. You can get this for about $54.95 directly from the Apollon website. Coupon code informant saves you 15% off. You get 20 servings per container, so you are looking at roughly $2.33 per tub. Did that math off the top of my head. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. And that's actually on par with a lot of other fully loaded pre-workouts on the market these days. This isn't like your $30 pre-workout that has the basics fine and then just a little bit of everything. This is a fully loaded product, and everything's at the clinical dose or even at a higher than clinical dose. Well, yeah, first you're gonna be like, why do I shell out that much money? Since if you're only gonna use this once a week, once every other week, this is gonna last you a long time, and it's certainly gonna benefit you because you're simply gonna have great, powerful workouts with it. So for that reason, the value is actually, I believe we gave an 8.5 out of 10, somewhere in that range. Because yes, at a glance, $2.33 at a glance isn't the cheapest on the market. However, with that said, it is on par with many other pre-workouts out there, like the fully loaded ones. So comparing it to them, it is actually a solid deal. Due to its effectiveness, it doesn't need to be stacked with a pump rock to get a crazy pump. You get a crazy pump from this. You get the energy you need. It's simply one of the better pre-workouts on the market, hands down. So overall, yes, Hooligan, while it is not for everybody, it is certainly a pre-workout for people with high caffeine tolerances who want something around without any exotic stimulants that's going to give them a strong boost in energy, but also comes with everything else, you know, your pumps, your performance. And yes, even though we said the taste wasn't the best on the market, it's easy to overlook, especially if you're only going to drink it once a week anyway. So be sure to check out the written review of this to get more info. I believe it came out to an 8.7 overall out of 10. Take that with a grain of salt once again, because the taste kind of brought that rating down. If you don't look at the taste, then it's easy to follow. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out the written review, like the video, and all this. Let's go.